Hello, Andy the Maniacal Cinephile here with my thoughts on Rogue One, a Star Wars story. There's a lot riding on this film because it's the first Star Wars spin-off, and Disney hopes to expand the universe outside of the main episodes.
In other words, they need to milk that cash cow.
So let's see if the first standalone Star Wars film delivers. From the opening shot, this Star Wars film felt different. We get the "In a Galaxy Far, Far Away" screen, but the iconic music and opening crawl are missing.
I even put up some posters.
Honestly, it felt a little less like Star Wars, but I guess it wasn't really needed because the plot was already laid out in the opening crawl of A New Hope. Rogue One takes place right before Episode 4, so the film focuses on the Rebel Alliance learning about the Death Star and the spies who steal the plans in hopes of finding a weakness. Even though we know they succeed in delivering the plans and blowing up the Death Star...
Spoilers!
The stakes are still high, and the action is thrilling and intense. It's not so much about what they did, that we already know, it's how they did it, and it was interesting to see the events unfold. Rogue One is shot like a war movie. It felt like a World War II film that also covered the development and testing of the atomic bomb, or in this case, the Death Star. Mon Mothma recruits criminal Jyn Erso to find her father, Galen Erso, who was taken from her as a child. Galen is important because he's a brilliant scientist forced to work on the Death Star, who may have also hidden a weakness in the design.
He hid the plans in the one place no one would ever look, in a folder titled Jabba's Sex Tape.
Along the way, she meets and teams up with a diverse group of characters. My personal favorites being our female hero Jyn, the funny reprogrammed Imperial droid K2SO, and the badass blind warrior monk, Chirrut.
I liked and rooted for all of our new heroes.
True, but I wished a few of them had a little more character development and backstory. Especially the Empire defector Bodhi, because his motivations were a little unclear. But unfortunately, that happens with these movies that introduce a team of characters. Not everyone gets their time to shine. The new villain would be Director Krennic, who fits perfectly with the Empire portrayal in the original trilogy, even if he is a little too ambitious. I actually started to feel bad for the guy towards the end of the movie. He's got the weight of the Death Star on his shoulders, plus the Emperor and Darth Vader breathing down his neck. And just when he thinks he has everything under control again...
Now those damn rebels show up!
Taking place immediately before Episode 4, we get to see some familiar faces. We got a glimpse of Grand Moff Tarkin in the trailer, and surprisingly he's in the movie a lot more than I expected, considering that Peter Cushing died 20 years ago. You can tell that it's a CG face, so you kinda have that uncanny valley effect going on, but it's convincing enough and pretty cool to see Peter Cushing in a movie again.
That was CG? I thought they dug up and used his corpse as a puppet.
We also get some other cameos that bridge the gap between Episode 4 and the prequels, but I won't spoil them. There's a lot of fan service going on, and the movie handles it pretty well.
Andy, what kind of animal makes blue milk?
Oh wow, you really taste the lactation! Don't expect a lot of Darth Vader in this film. Much like what director Gareth Edwards did in Godzilla, he holds out on the star for as long as possible. Sometimes less is more, and although Vader doesn't have a lot of screen time, he's very effective. When we do meet Vader, we find him in a vulnerable state.
Splish splash, Vader taking a bath. Do 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 do. Yeah.
It turns out the Dark Lord also has a sense of humor when he makes a choking joke. Rogue One also gave me something I have always wanted to see. Darth Vader Unleashed, kicking a bunch of ass!
So much senseless violence. It brought a tear to my eye.
Rogue One proves that Star Wars has a big universe, and there are many interesting stories to be told other than what the Skywalkers are up to. This film needed to stand alone, and does that by deviating from the usual elements. A lot of the classic Star Wars music isn't used, which is understandable because it's a new story with new characters, so we need new themes.
It was a bold move to use the recorder.
Rogue One also uses a time jump, flashbacks, and text identifying new locations, things we haven't seen in previous Star Wars movies.
Yes, Admiral.
Rogue One beautifully recreates the world from the original trilogy while delivering an edgier film. The physical props, sets, and locations add grit and realism. It's more grounded and looks great. I was a little worried after news of extensive reshoots, but the final product delivered the goods. The first act was maybe a little slow and clunky. A lot of, we're on this planet, and now we're on this planet, and now we're on this planet. But that's nitpicking because I feel like I have to criticize something. Your hair is stupid! However, the film does build towards an impressive action-packed finale, involving an X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter space battle and rebels fighting stormtroopers on the beaches of Scarif. The film isn't as fast-paced or as goofy as The Force Awakens, but the events take place between episodes 3 and 4. The tone should be darker and more serious, yet hopeful. Seeing all the sacrifice makes you look at A New Hope in a different way. To conclude, Rogue One is intense, emotional, and offers many memorable moments leading up to a satisfying conclusion. So would I recommend seeing Rogue One, A Star Wars Story? Yes. Rogue One is the prequel you were looking for. This has been Andy, the Maniacal Cinephile.
Thanks for watching.
And see you next time!